Hey there, friend. Let me ask you something. Have you ever laid awake at night, staring at the ceiling, running through every possible worst case scenario in your head? Maybe it's replaying an awkward conversation from earlier today, or worse, one that happened 3 years ago, or maybe it's stressing about something that hasn't even happened yet but feels like it's inevitable. Sound familiar? Well, guess what? You're not alone. Research shows that 90% of our worries never actually come true. 90%. That means most of the mental energy we spend obsessing over things is completely wasted. And yet, here we are, spinning our wheels, losing sleep, and driving ourselves crazy for no good reason. But here's the thing. Overthinking isn't just annoying. It's also exhausting. It drains your energy, steals your joy, and keeps you stuck. It doesn't have to be this way. Silencing your brain is actually easier than you think it. Just takes understanding why it happens and learning how to take back control. In this video, I'm going to share 3 powerful strategies to help you stop overthinking once and for all. These aren't woo-woo tricks or complicated hacks. They're practical, actionable tools you can start using today. By the time we're done, you'll feel lighter, calmer, and more in charge of your thoughts. So grab a cup of coffee or tea if that's your vibe, and let's get started. But before we dive into those 3 strategies, let's talk about why overthinking happens in the first place. Because honestly, understanding the root cause makes solving the problem so much easier. Once you know what's fueling your overthinking, these solutions will click instantly. Trust me, this part is key. Part 1. Why do we overthink? Exploring the root cause. So why do we overthink? Well, believe it or not, overthinking isn't entirely our fault. It's kind of hardwired into us. As humans, we're wired to solve problems, anticipate danger, and plan ahead. Back when we were cavemen trying to avoid saber-toothed tigers, this ability was crucial for survival. But now, not so much. The problem is, our brains haven't caught up to modern life. They still treat minor inconvenience like sending an email or having a disagreement with a coworker as if they're life or death situations. And because our minds are problem-solving machines, they keep churning out what-ifs and worst-case scenarios until we either find a solution or drive ourselves bonkers. Here's another layer to it. Overthinking often stems from fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking silly, you name it. When we're uncertain or anxious, our brains try to compensate by analyzing every detail, hoping to gain a sense of control. But ironically, the more we analyze, the less control we actually feel. Does any of this sound relatable? If so, don't worry, we're going to tackle this together. Now that we understand why overthinking happens, let's move on to the fun part, fixing it. Here are the 3 strategies we'll cover. 1. Ground yourself in the present moment. Learn how to pull yourself out of spiraling thoughts and anchor your mind in reality. 2. Challenge the stories you tell yourself. Stop believing everything you think and start questioning whether those thoughts are true. 3. Channel your energy into action. Transform overwhelming thoughts into small, manageable steps that give you clarity and momentum. Each of these strategies builds on the last, creating a foundation for lasting change. Ready to dive in? Let's start with the first one. Part 2. Strategy 1. Ground yourself in the present moment. All right, strategy number 1, grounding yourself in the present moment. This is hands down the fastest way to silence your brain when it starts racing. Think about it when you're overthinking. Where does your mind usually go? The past or the future, right? Rarely does it stay focused on what's happening right now. The truth is, the present moment is the only place where peace exists. When you bring your attention back to the here and now, you short-circuit the overthinking cycle. But how do you do that? Let me share 2 simple techniques you can use anytime, anywhere. Technique 1. The 54,321 method. This is my personal favorite because it's quick, easy, and super effective. Here's how it works. Pause whatever you're doing and identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. For example, right now I can see my laptop, the lamp next to me, the bookshelf across the room, the curtains swaying gently, and the mug on my desk. I can feel the fabric of my sweater, the cushion beneath me, the pen in my hand, and the cool air brushing against my skin. Try it yourself. It forces your brain to focus on tangible, sensory details instead of abstract worries. Technique 2, box breathing. If you prefer something a little more meditative, try box breathing. Inhale deeply for 4 counts, hold your breath for 4 counts, exhale slowly for 4 counts, and then pause again for 4 counts before repeating. This technique calms your nervous system and brings you back to center almost immediately. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds too simple to work. But trust me, simplicity is power. These exercises interrupt the autopilot mode of overthinking and remind you that you're safe, grounded, and okay in this exact moment. Let's pause for a second. How are you feeling so far? If you've already tried one of these techniques, drop a comment below and let me know how it went. Did it help quiet your mind? Okay, moving on to strategy number 2. Part 3. Strategy 2. Challenge the stories you tell yourself. All right, strategy number 2. Challenging the stories you tell yourself. Here's the deal. Your brain loves to make up stories. Sometimes those stories are helpful, like reminding you to lock your door at night. Other times, not so much. Have you ever noticed how quickly your mind jumps to conclusions? Like, someone doesn't text you back, and suddenly you're convinced they hate you. Or you make a tiny mistake at work, and you spiral into thinking you're going to get fired. Sound familiar? The truth is, most of the thoughts swirling around in your head aren't facts. They're assumptions, exaggerations, or flat out lies. But here's the empowering part. You get to decide which thoughts to believe. So, how do you challenge these unhelpful stories? Follow these steps. Step 1, notice what you're thinking. The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to the negative thoughts that pop up. Are you catastrophizing? Jumping to conclusions? Being overly critical? Write them down if it helps. Step 2, ask critical questions. Once you've identified the thought, ask yourself, is this true? Is it helpful? Would I say this to a friend? For example, if you catch yourself thinking, I'm such a failure, ask, is that really true? Have I never succeeded at anything? Chances are, the answer is no. Step 3, reframe the thought. Finally, replace the negative thought with a more balanced perspective. Instead of, I'm such a failure, try, I made a mistake, but mistakes are part of growth. See the difference? This process takes practice, but over time, it trains your brain to think more realistically and kindly. Remember, you're not trying to eliminate negative thoughts altogether. That's impossible. You're learning to manage them better. Before we move on to the final strategy, take a moment to reflect. What's one story you've been telling yourself lately that might not be serving you? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Part 4, strategy 3, channel your energy into action. All right, let's wrap this up with strategy number 3, channeling your energy into action. One of the biggest traps of overthinking is that it keeps us stuck in analysis paralysis. We think and rethink and overanalyze without ever taking action, which only fuels the cycle. Here's the secret. Action breaks the loop. When you shift your focus from thinking to doing, you give your brain something productive to latch onto. Plus, taking even small steps forward creates momentum and boosts your confidence. So, how do you turn overthinking into action? Let's break it down. Step 1, identify one small step. When you're overwhelmed, it's tempting to try to fix everything at once. Don't do that. Instead, pick one small thing you can do right now to move forward. For example, if you're stressed about a big project, start by making a list of tasks. If you're worried about a relationship, send a quick text to check in. Step 2, set a timer. Give yourself a set amount of time to complete the task, say 10 or 15 minutes. Why? Because deadlines create urgency and prevent procrastination. Plus, knowing you only have to focus for a short period makes starting less intimidating. Step 3, celebrate progress. After you finish, celebrate. Seriously, acknowledge the effort you put in, no matter how small. This reinforces positive behavior and motivates you to keep going. Remember, perfection isn't the goal, progress is. Every step you take pulls you further away from overthinking and closer to clarity. And there you have it, 3 powerful strategies to silence your brain and stop overthinking for good. To recap, 1. Ground yourself in the present moment. Use tools like the 54,321 method or box breathing to anchor your mind. 2. Challenge the stories you tell yourself. Question unhelpful thoughts and reframe them with kindness and realism. 3. Channel your energy into action. Break the cycle by taking small, intentional steps forward. These strategies may seem simple, but don't underestimate their impact. Overthinking thrives on inertia, so the more you practice these techniques, the quieter your brain will become. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. And hey, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear which strategy resonated with you the most, or if you have any questions. Until next time, remember, you've got this. Life is messy, beautiful, and unpredictable, but it's also yours to live fully. Keep showing up, keep growing, and above all, keep being awesome. See you soon.